Same-sex marriage, the ethical dilemma. At the very mention of same-sex marriage, Christian traditionalists prepare to argue that homosexuality is a sin, and therefore same-sex marriage is something they cannot endorse. After all, in the beginning there was male and female, not male and male or female and female. Although the Bible is clearly against homosexuality, we are more importantly called to love. In Matthew 22, Jesus reports that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your might, and to love your neighbor as yourself. We were not called to judge. We were called to love. John 13:35 claims that they should know we are Christians by our love. Would they? Homosexuals are so turned off from Christianity because they are constantly being judged. It is not a person's right to legislate the righteousness of others. Perhaps we are doing more harm than good. Before considering whether it is ethical to deny or grant homosexuals the right to marry, let's take a look at how marriage is defined. Christian traditionalists claim marriage should be a union between one man and one woman so that the couple can raise a family. However, reproduction is not a requirement for marriage. Conversely, the same-sex marriage supporter embeds the purpose of marriage into love and unity. Regardless of sexual orientation, homosexuals have the same American values as heterosexual couples. Many still want gold bands, legal documents, and children. In fact, 83% of gay couples say they would definitely get married if they could. These couples desire that marriage becomes unbiased gender because it represents the expression of love and commitment to companionship. This type of love is basic to God's own nature. This deep level of love that desires a covenant union is what Christ requires of his disciples. Christian traditionalists argue that we aren't loving them by condoning their behavior, but if their love is really that strong, not allowing them to marry will not break them up. Instead, homosexual couples are left without the true commitment because the final step of marriage is not an option for them. Same-sex marriage is not just a religious issue, but also a constitutional issue, because not allowing same-sex marriage is hindering the rights of the people. The traditionalist holds concern that the adoption of same-sex marriage would blur the lines and implode the institution of marriage. However, we cannot ignore issues just because tradition is safe and changes bring the unknown. Take slavery, for instance. This was widely accepted for years, but when the issue was addressed, it appeared that slavery infringed on the rights of people. At the time, people didn't see what they were doing was unethical, but it clearly was. Just because marriage has always been between a man and a woman doesn't mean we can claim that this is the only combination for marriage to occur. This issue deserves great attention to ensure we are not infringing on the rights of same-sex couples. After thorough research, married heterosexual couples are given more benefits than homosexual lifelong partners. This union is more than just a legal document claiming that the two are married. Without the allowance of marriage, life partners are denied the rights to insurance and pension benefits, family-only hospital visits, inheritance of assets, access to their partner's social security, to make executive medical decisions, to sue for a partner's wrongful death, and to protect their children in custody battles.
No longer can we treat homosexuals as a minority group and infringe on the constitutional fight for human rights. The same-sex marriage controversy is over much more than the marriage license. It's about love and equal human rights. Let's let God be the judge of what is right and wrong. We cannot deprive human rights to a group of people just because of their sexual orientation. Let's walk in love, leave the religious stigmas towards homosexuality at the door, and support same-sex marriage, because let's face the facts, that is the most ethical decision.